Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a new game of StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm. Today we're gonna have a live game of a game that I played, I believe it was either last night or the day before, I actually don't remember since we're playing way too many games lately. Let me actually double check if my sound is on. Yes, it is on. So, I actually recently made a video on how to stop Immortal Sentry pushes in StarCraft II versus Protoss, okay? And I've read the comments on the video and people were like, "Hey, Lowko, that was not a normal Sentry Immortal push, it was a delayed one, and it had Immortals, and blah blah blah." And okay, I see where you're coming from, So, here we go. This is going to be a normal, a quote-unquote normal Sentry Immortal all-in Zerg versus Protoss. And, yeah, hopefully in this game I will be able to go over the things that you need to be doing to actually stop this sort of a push. Now, the Sentry Immortal push is one of the most popular all-ins in all of StarCraft II from a 2-base Protoss, period. Since pretty much the eternity of StarCraft II, well, actually, I think it's up for like a year or so, but for a long time, the standard play has been sort of 3-hatch Zerg versus 2 Nexus Protoss, and they sort of go head-to-head, and one of the most popular all-ins that the Protoss can do in those situations is the Immortal Sentry All In. So in this specific game, spoiler, my opponent is gonna go for the Immortal Sentry as well. Now, this is not going to be any gimmicky, this is just a straight up Immortal Sentry all in. He pushes at the exact time, he pushes with the exact unit, and yeah, it should be pretty straightforward. So, the main thing that you need to be realizing with this game, this game in particular, is that you can actually, like, sort of execute this yourself, 100%. Like, I'm not gonna be doing anything special, I'm not going to be doing anything fancy, I'm just going to play completely textbook Zerg. So if you manage to execute this build up until like the, pretty much the end of the game, up until like the 9-minute mark or so, you will pretty much be able to stop this push 100% of the time as well, and be totally fine versus any sort of Protoss all-ins, period, on 2-base. Now, obviously, you will need to be scouting and you will need to know exactly what is coming, but if you know you can macro like I do in this video, I don't think there's much of a problem anymore in Zerg versus Protoss in general. At least as long as it comes to 2-base all-ins. So here we go, you can see me open up with the spawning pool first. I'm following it up with a hatchery. A little bit of tickling going around at the natural, but I did manage to get my hatchery down eventually. Going to be starting my own queen, and I'm going to be starting a set of Zerglings. Now I have my first Overlord arriving on my opponent's side of the map, and as you can see, I click really quickly right there. Notice, okay, there is a forge down already, there's a gateway on the way, so it must be a Nexus first, honestly. There's really no other way than that being it, or at least a very quick Nexus. It's the only real thing that I need to know up until this point. So what I'm gonna do, queue up my second queen, gonna walk my first queen to the natural, gonna try and chase away the probe and deny the vision of my third base for as long as I can, and it does look like I will be able to deny the vision of my third base without him being able to scout that, which is quite a little bit of a win for me, because my opponent right now doesn't know that I have my third base up, which is annoying for the Protoss, because he can't really know whether or not I'm going for a 2-base all-in, trying to break his greedy Nexus. So, as you can see, he's instantly forced to pretty much send out another probe. Nice timing on him for that one. And, yeah, he will be able to scout that there's a third base going on. I know that my opponent is going for a quick Nexus, and from here on out, we're basically going to go head-to-head in this situation and pretty much just try and squeeze out as many workers as we possibly can. So he's going to spend a lot of chrono boosts on probes. I'm going to pretty much spend all my larvae on making probes. Gonna try and get a quick third queen. I'm gonna do a little bit of creep spreading just because I need to connect my natural and my third base as quickly as I possibly can. But I'm going to be starting my third queen in my natural while laying down a creep tumor with the queen in the natural and walking that one to the third. Gonna hit the inject in the main. Come on, Lowko, there we go. Gonna hit the inject in the main, and as you can see in the production tab, pretty much just only going to be creating drones. Now, I do have an Overlord in position at the back of his main base. I also have an Overlord in position at the back of his natural, and I have Zerglings in the front. So I know that there's no probe scout anymore. I know that there's nothing fancy going on whatsoever. Checked up really quickly right there, didn't really see much special at all. Did notice that there wasn't the Zealot down, however, but not the biggest of deals, honestly. So I'm gonna start my double gas, guys, around the 6-minute mark. I'm actually a little tiny bit late on that, not the biggest of deals, however. Gonna keep my Zergling production, or my drone production, making a few extra Zerglings. Just because I sort of need them, and I don't know why those drones are going to the other side of the map, but no big deal. I'm going to start rallying everything to my third base right now, flying in my 2 Overlords, and pretty much just starting my Roach War. Now, the Overlord Scout right here is going to determine what I'm going to be doing in the middle part of the game. From what those overlords will tell me, I can decide whether or not I want to go for a lair first, or if I want to go for Zergling speed first. Now, I obviously am making a few Zerglings right now, so I don't really need to be making that much more, because it will be fine for pretty much everything. So here we go, I will be able to scout. Okay, there's a third gas geyser down already for my opponent. A little bit funky right there, a little bit tiny bit confused on what that is, but I see, okay, he is chrono boosting something out of that robotics facility. And obviously, 99% of the time when they are chrono boosting it like that, is not gonna be an observer, because if he is going observer, there's really like a little tiny chance that he is going to not spend that chrono boost on, you know, workers instead, because they are way more valuable. So I'm already somewhat putting him on something like an Immortal Sentry All In. So that does show to me, okay, I will be able to go for a lair first, I will then follow it up with Zergling speed, I can get my Evo chamber out, and I will pretty much be able to drone up freely for the time being. Now it also indicates to me that I probably will not be able to get away with any more gas geysers than 4, because I then will need a lot more drones, and you know, I can't really cut the risk like that. So right now, I really just want to be going for the Stefano style of play, which is the mass roach on 3 base, which is exactly what I'm doing. So as you can see, I'm starting my macro hatchery right when hitting max saturation. I have more gas geysers going out, and since we are hitting right around now, around the 9-minute mark, I will definitely need to start scouting for his third base. A standard Protoss third base hits right around the 9-minute mark, so I definitely need to know for sure that that is what is going up, or whether or not it is not going up. So he is going to be scouting with the Phoenix to verify whether or not he can go for that push, and I'm going to start my massive amounts of units right now. Going to start a bunch of overlords, going to use them to basically free up supply to make as many roaches as I can, and I have a Zergling right now on the minimap. That's actually where I check. I have a Zergling on the minimap right now, checking his third base, and I realize, okay, in both possible third base locations, there is still no third up at the 9.5-minute mark. At this point, it is for me 100% clear. There's really only one thing my opponent can do, and that is going for an Immortal Sentry All In. So as you can see, I'm going to, well, obviously there's more than 1 or 2 All-Ins, but it's most likely right now an Immortal Sentry All In. So here we go, I'm going to be starting a lot of unit production. He is moving out right at the 9.5-minute mark, the standard time for the Immortal Sentry move out. And what I need to do right now is buy as much time as I possibly can. If you take a look at income right now, my income is significantly higher than my opponent. Do you see that? Basically what that means is that the longer the game goes on and the longer I am mining, I will be able to get a bigger army than my opponent, and that is crucial to realize. The more time that I can buy with this little tiny army of mine, the more force fields I can force, like I'm trying to do right here, the more time I will be able to get a bigger army up. Because I have more income, my army will be bigger the longer the time goes on. So as you can see, I'm just trying to push him back for the longest time, just trying to not get caught between a bunch of force fields, and just trying to get a big production of units up. My +1 armor is about to complete, which is obviously going to help out both my Zerglings and my roaches. So if I upgrade that, or if I manage to get that upgrade before actually engaging right here, that will put me at a nice little tiny bit of an advantage right here. So as you can see on the production tab, he is warping in one final round, and I believe he is going in for the push right now. So as you can see, I'm setting up a little bit of a concave. I actually want to move a few roaches to the top of that ramp as well, but here we go, going to try and fight the best I can. Now I'm not completely sure if this is the best engagement that I could possibly take, but I do realize, okay, he's wasting a lot of energy on all these force fields, so he will not be able to replace them simply because he pretty much wasted all of it already. So on the production tab, I am going to start producing more and more units, and as you can see, the straight up textbook style of Zerg versus Protoss with the 3-hatch opener basically gave me a relatively easy way to clean up that army. Once the Immortals are done, once the sentries are pretty much out of energy, it becomes a really easy task. Keep in mind, my production is still, and my income is still a lot bigger than my opponent, so I don't really need to worry about anything. Going to even start another macro hatchery because I've been slipping a little tiny bit to my injects while engaging, but the only thing I right now need to do is never go off creep, because there's really no reason for me to go off creep, and just keep producing units. If my opponent would decide right now to go for a third base, I will be able to simply overrun him because of my added income, and he does decide to leave the game. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!